Are you a business owner or work in a manufacturing environment and you want to or started that sustainability journey? Well, today we speak to Phil Atkinson, the Managing Director of BTS Fabrication, who has been on that journey since 2015. Those of you who listen to the show will realise that Phil has been on this show before, which was about him building the business. This is specifically about sustainability, and this is the first in the series where we're going to learn from people like Phil to really help you on your journey. We talk through the early days, why he decided to go on this journey in the first place, the hidden benefits, if you like, of really involving the team and changing the face of the business all surrounding sustainability. We talk about offsetting the carbon footprint. We talk about all the low-hanging fruit, the things you need to do today, which won't cost you any money. Ultimately, his journey to where they are now, looking at B Corp, which is the next step for the business. We talk about the 4-day working week, but we talk about all the things you can do today to actually make a difference, which might not necessarily cost that much money, and so much in between. You're going to learn so much on this and hopefully come away with some actions and without doubt some inspiration to help the business, but also help the community. Because as we discussed in detail, these are habits that shouldn't only work in a workplace environment, work in a home. Phil is genuinely one of the most genuine people I've ever met and a good client of mine. And as you will hear on the episode, he's happy to help anyone on this journey. So I'll leave his details on there. Feel free to contact him. So thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. Sit back, grab a coffee and watch or listen to today's episode. Thank you very much. Crack on, mate, if you're ready.
Yeah.
Right, a warm welcome, a second warm welcome today to Phil Atkinson, who is coming on the Manufacturing Leaders podcast for the second time, the first person I've ever had on twice, but you're about to understand why. So, Phil, if you haven't already watched or listened to his episodes, one of my earlier guests who went through his full journey, where he is obviously Managing Director at BTS Fabrication, and it was a tremendous episode on building a business, on management. This is going to be a very different episode specifically on sustainability and exactly what Phil and the team there at BTS have done. So, Phil, another warm welcome. How are you, mate?
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, thank you very much for coming on. Just for those who perhaps don't know of BTS, Phil, would you mind telling us just a brief introduction of what the business does, please, buddy?
Yeah, we fabricate metal rain screen for the construction industry. We've been set up since 2009. We're in our 15th year. We actually set up a little bit before that, but we kicked into life in 2009. We tested our rain screens back in 2012, so we've been full-scale manufacturer of our core products for 12 years now. Successful in our sector. We deal in residential, student accommodation, but we don't just do the rain screen. We'll do all the peripheral products like the flash-ins, the window pods, any bespoke details. We do a bit of expanded mesh, so we do car parks and stuff like that. But yeah, all the nice fancy facade on a building envelope is, you could probably put our name to quite a few around the country.
Yeah, nice. And I've seen some of the stuff you've done, and the actual facility you have there at New Aycliffe is a sight to behold. It's fantastic. So a great development there, which proves the work you do. Now, as I say, this is going to be a bit of a different episode. So it's more of you'll see me looking at my notes more. It's a little bit more Q&A-esque. And I'm really excited by it because I think manufacturing, I've seen is evolving, but I think the sustainability journey, there's still a lot of people on a different rate at where BTS are. I recently had a round table with 18, 19 senior people on, and we did a full morning on sustainability and the full environmental piece, which was hosted by a site in New Aycliffe called Go Geothermal. But there was the key person in there was you, Phil, and a lot of lessons people learned from the stuff you've done there. So I knew I needed to get you on here so we could really talk through that. Do you mind me asking why you decided to start that journey of sustainability and sort of where that came from?
Well, we actually started it in 2015. So we got the core rain screen products. We got ISO 9001 in 2013 after we set up the test of the rain screen. And the next logical one to us was 14001, which is the environmental ISO. Shortly after that, we got a biomass burner. We invested £100,000. So we had our first renewable for 8 years now. So we burn wood chips to heat our factory here. and give us the hot water. So we're already on the journey in them days. But to be honest, we started our works committee 2 years ago, the BTS Forum, and we all sat down, I chair them, and it just came out of the people that they wanted to drive sustainability further. So it wasn't a top-down approach, it was a bottom-up approach by our staff that said we want to get more into it, which backs up our policy to move into, I know we're going to come to it possibly later, with the B Corp, with the stakeholder model. So again, anyone who joins us, the first thing they do, they get an environmental awareness course. So they have to do the IASCO course. So they're already got a head start into our culture and policies on the environment, which obviously have moved into more ESG as the years have gone by. So yeah, it was brought by the people, mate. So the people wanted it, so we drove it forward.
I love that. It's amazing because that's probably would surprise a lot of people, because a lot of businesses go, right, let's say they're owned by, a German firm, whatever it is, they've been told they've got to reach certain standards by a certain date, and it's a very different motivation to do something like that. You're more ticking boxes, and the driver for you is very different, I guess, which is really interesting. What do you know why that was? That they just wanted to be part of something which was making a difference to society then, or how did that come about? Because I found that really interesting.
We live in different times now, isn't it? And the kids are talking to the parents, and we've got quite a lot of youngsters working for us.
Yeah.
And I think when they look for a job, I mean, through recruitment, when people are looking for a job now, they don't just look at the company, they look at how they evolve and how the policies on the environment, and governance and stuff like that. So it was important to these youngsters and important to the wider staff that we got on this journey. People do care about the environment. People care about the kids' future and the grandkids' future. Because let's face it, if we don't, what chance have we got? Because the government have got to play catch up with making some of the stuff mandatory. Because again, it's companies like us who are driving it forward. It's not mandated. Yeah. So it's only going to get, hopefully, it's going to get more pressures from the government, more policy from the government to drive it forward.
100%. I completely agree with that, because I think it has surprised a lot of businesses that people want to make a difference, because they actually do. And as a recruiter, we do have people now ask that question: what is their stance on sustainability? And it isn't now to tick boxes or someone to think, to put a business in a good light. The new generation actually want to be part of something which is making a difference, and I think that's the shift, and that's a realization businesses are starting to get to. So the fact you've got there quicker than most, I think, is fantastic. And I imagine that then potentially helps your recruitment, but also your retention, because particularly for BTS, they're part of that, and it was them that brought that to the fold, I guess.
Yeah. Obviously, attraction, retention is a number one policy in here. We haven't had many leavers since we've pushed this forward.
Yeah,
people have only left us of like our choosing, if you know, maybe one or two that have gone because they've been offered stupid money elsewhere. But invariably, people have wanted to stay here because they like our values, they share our values, they know we care. I mean, I'll probably come to it in details what we've done, but one of the main drivers through the BTS Forum was the driving forward of the 4-day week. So we've been on a 4-day week since February 23, and we power down on 1 day. So we're only operational on the shop floor 4 days. And obviously, if there's overtime needed on a weekend, we do come in and work the machines. But mainly 4-day week, we do the 37 hours over 4 days. So that was one of the first things we did on the to improve the powering down. Right. And that was from the people again. The people wanted that.
And that you start to answer my first question there. That's very fascinating, because so let's say a company is in that place where either bottom up or top down, whatever it is, the decision has been made that they need to start on this journey and they want to take it seriously. What are the first things you did? So if one of the first things you did was to commence that 4-day working week, which then obviously would have improved your carbon footprint, etc. What else did you do to start that journey, would you say?
I did a lot of research.
I bet, yeah. Because where do you start? Because there's not.
Yeah, where do you start?
Yeah.
And the best place to start is from, right, what is your carbon footprint? What is your priorities? What are realistic things that you can change straight away? What are the low-hanging fruit, as you call it in the meeting we had at Geothermal, whatever they're called? And you just start with the easy ones: cycle to work schemes, EV chargers, put an LV right lighting throughout. Look at voltage optimization, so you can save your costs. And then if you can afford it, you've got the solar and the wind turbines. So there's lots of the solar and the wind turbines. Obviously, wind turbines can come with a cost. You can do them through where the supplier will put it in, you buy the electricity off them, so there's no cost to yourselves. But there's easy wins. There is easy wins, and of course, the 4-day week was a really good one for us, because not only was it helping with our environmental objectives, it was going to help us with retention and attraction. The amount of people who want to come in because they learn about our 4-day week, it's one of our main selling factors when we advertise. As you know.
Yeah, as I know, we're about to trial ours, and you know what it is. I think, I'm segueing here, but when businesses do things which make a difference, they work with businesses, that's infectious. I stand here today. We're about to trial a 4-day week. You've given us a nudge on the sustainability. We've now signed up to a company called Greenify, so we can start to get on our own journey for that. And I just think that is really important, because we'll come into it, but that supply chain piece within manufacturing is massive, because you can never get where you need to fully be until your supply chain is fully on board, which I know is where you've got to. So great start, I think, in terms of a business. Any business can do that. They can look at where the low-hanging fruit is, and they can look at where those changes they can make tomorrow. A lot of companies might need some persuasion, which will help the P&L or whatever it is. Did you see any quick wins financially where you go, right, okay, that's offsetting financially and that can improve? Or does that take a bit of time to really sort of see what you say?
Yeah, that takes a bit of time. Obviously, the 4-day week, when you're powering down, you're still potentially doing the 37 hours, but you're doing over 4 days instead of 5. But yeah, it has to save you money on the power. It has to. Well, not just that, you've got the people's fuel bills. If people are coming down from Newcastle, you've got a conscious thing that they're only traveling 4 days instead of 5 days. So you win-win. But like the other things you've got to do, you've got to look at your how you get rid of waste. One of the first things we did is speak to our worst guys, and we said zero waste to landfill. So it all goes to washing to either get waste to energy or it gets recycled. We've put balers in here quite quickly, so all the plastic and the cardboard gets baled and gets recycled, and we get money for that. So we actually turn it into profit. So the stuff that we just throw in a skip is now making us money. So there is stuff like that you can do, and that is one of the easy. That's quite early in the journey. You can get onto making money from it.
Yeah. Did you? Because is that information that is shouted about, or did you find that out whilst you were on the journey?
I must admit, I found that out on the journey.
Yeah, I imagine most would. Yeah.
Yeah, we spoke to a company called the Waste Experts, and we have to buy the baler, but we know that baler's on a payback, because we're going to make money from it eventually through getting rid of the plastic and the cardboard. Yeah. You wouldn't be surprised. All our aluminium and all our steel, it all comes in packaged with plastic and cardboard, and it's just unbelievable quantities that we can now bale. It leaves it in a nice neat pile, and these waste experts that come in and take it away, and we get money for it. So it's a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer.
Yeah, fantastic. I imagine it is an absolute minefield when you first start as well, because like anything which is going to transition any form of industry, you've got third parties that jump on that, and everyone suddenly is an expert. And you'll have a lot of experts knocking your door and saying, I can do X, Y, and Z for you. Did you have that? Did you have a lot of companies who say, I can come in and do this?
Again, I did a lot of research. I got in touch with at least 3 of the experts, as you call them. And obviously you need to, because you can't do it yourself. If you're going to do it, you need to do it properly. And for someone to come in and look at your carbon footprint, which is scope 1, scope 2, which you're responsible for,
Yeah.
And then you've got your scope 3, which is your supply chain and logistics. You need help. You can't, if you're running a business, you need someone to help you do that. So the first person I spoke to wanted £18,000 just to do a carbon footprint. Sorry, I'll go back. The first person I spoke to charges £3 and only did scope 1 and 2, didn't have a clue about scope 3, led us down a garden path. So then we got talking with, they give us the idea, they give us the inkling that there's an expert out there. So the next person wanted £18,000 to do scope 1, 2 and 3. The next person wanted £9,500 to do scope 1, 2 and 3. And I just thought it was too much. So I kept looking, did all my research, found a company called Blue Marble, and they had it listed on their website what they were going to charge to do it, and it was like £1,500. I was like, wow. Spoke to the guy, arranged the team's call, got all the team, all the leadership team involved, and they went through the process. Said, we won't overcomplicate it. We've got things, we've got metrics we need from you. You give us the details, and we'll help you get there. Anyway, within 3 months, they calculated that we were 722 tons of carbon. And 84% of that 722 tons was scope 3 through our supply chain. So
educate us what the scope 1, 2 and 3 again. So what
scope 1 is your internal stuff, your electric and how you scope 2 is your power and your heating. Scope 3 is everything that comes from the supply chain.
Right.
But scope 1 and 2 you can look after internally. So you start and fix your stuff internally, like your zero waste to landfill, putting your LED lighting in, look at recycling, look at baling, look at 4-day week and stuff like that. Your scope 1 and 2 you can look after. It's your scope 3 that gets harder. So we wrote to all our supply chain and give them a PQQ, a pre-qualification questionnaire.
Yep.
We asked them what the carbon footprint was. We asked them how they were going to potentially offset it and get the carbon negative or carbon zero. And they all come back and said, what's that? What is a carbon footprint? So, yeah, bear in mind, I've been on this journey for 2 years now, and it's taken 2 years to get our top suppliers even to entertain it.
Really?
I must admit, it's improved.
Yeah.
Powder coat that does £1 million for us, he got his carbon footprint done by the same people that we used, Blue Marble, and now he's carbon negative as well. So there is people who want to join the journey. Yeah. I mean, we're lucky that 95% of the material we use is aluminium. Now, aluminium is one of the most recyclable of materials, but the recycled aluminium that comes back around as sheet for rain screen is not quite there. There isn't it's called 3424 grade, and we can't get it right. We've trialed it and trialed it and trialed it. And some of the bends we do, you have to bend it right back on itself and it cracks. So the mills around the world have got to do a bit more work, in my opinion. Yeah. They're all claiming they've got this recyclable grade, but they've got to get it to work. What we do, though, we joined a sorry, Mark, sorry. We joined a closed loop recycling scheme. So yeah, all the scrap that we create in here, we send to a company called Allutrade, yeah. And that they send it to D-side and tip shelf to get remelted, and that comes back round to us as extrusion. Right. It doesn't come round to us as sheet, but we use extrusions in our end screen systems. So it's great. I went to the Berkeley factory, and a great factory too. I thought we were great automation. You want to see the stuff they've got at Berkeley and at Hydro. Yeah, been right. Like Hydro, it's great that we keep it in the UK. So the scrap leaves here, goes down to Allutrade, gets sorted because they've got to take some film off and stuff like that, and then it gets remelted and comes back round. Stays in the UK. That's what it's all about. So that's one of the best things we've done. That for me is join that closed loop. Yeah. The more people that can do that, the better. I feel anyway.
And what you're saying there, it's kind of like the business owners or people who are leading these manufacturing businesses have almost got a bit of a duty there to stop turning a blind eye to this and actually do something, because that's what you're doing. You know, you're being proactive to try and because if, like say, if the bulk of it is scope 3, then that you can only do so much to get so far. You've got to put pressure, I guess, on your supply chain, but that's a real knock-on effect, isn't it? And that change needs to happen to do it. So, but you said you've seen a bit of a difference there over time in terms of this year.
Yeah, it's
problems.
See, we've put the pressure. We've had to pressure our people and say, look, we want suppliers to get to net zero. That's what it's all about. We want to get to net zero before 2030. Yeah. And what chance have we got of getting there unless our supply chain get there? Now, I feel sorry for these because you said the supply chain, right, I need you to be more efficient getting the aluminium to us or the steel. They say, Phil, these 40-ton trucks ain't going to be run on electric. They're just not, it's not going to happen. But you can get 7.5 tonners that run on hydrogen and electric. But yeah, you wouldn't get the payload. So we are quite a way off with logistics, but there is technologies coming. But bear in mind, logistics is one of the biggest part of scope 3, and it's not just although we say supply chain, we've got to deliver these goods to site. We had a trial through County Durham scheme. They give us electric vehicles to trial for a month free of charge. So we were doing some local deliveries on an electric van. But again, you couldn't drive that far. Some of our customers are down in London, so we just had to put the normal vehicles on or put it out to a third party haulier because you couldn't do more than 70, 80 miles with a full load on an electric van. Yeah. So not only are we in the hands of our supply chain, we're in the hands of logistical companies to come up with technologies, or the truck makers to come up with better technologies, and let's drive this down to the fact that we can get goods delivered without a carbon footprint.
Apologies for interrupting this podcast for a very quick 30-second pitch of my business. Theo James are a specialist manufacturing and engineering recruitment search firm based in Seaham in the Northeast. If you're looking for any staff or a new opportunity yourself, from a semi-skilled level right the way up to C-suite executive, then please get in touch. We have a specialist consultant in each discipline ready to help. I'm extremely proud of what we've built over the years, and I'd love to extend that service out to you. Thank you. Enjoy the podcast.
We're going to get to net zero. It's okay for people with cars to do it, but logistics is way behind. It is way behind.
And for that to really take an effect for manufacturing, logistics is obviously the key missing part, because, and that, like you say, that's probably got to come down from government pressure or funding or however they do it to mandate these things, because these are big financial changes for businesses to make, but which a lot of them probably aren't going to make unless they're forced to do. But we're never going to get to net zero unless it's not a chicken and egg situation. They just need to mandate this and make it viable for business to do so, don't they?
Correct. And I don't see much evidence that they are doing it just yet.
Yeah.
Obviously.
If you look at the teams now, and I think the approach to get your team involved is probably essential, I would say, even if you've got a specialist. And I think in years to come, you'll probably find, a role out there, people recruiting, is someone who has now got 2-3 years experience. And but we're probably obviously a few years away from that because it's not been out there long enough. So right now, I think you've got to involve your team. How do they do that at BTS? Obviously, you've got the forum there. How do they do practically for them to help with this and have helped? How have they done that?
They all have to do an IASCO environmental course.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we realised that it couldn't just be me driving this, so I employed a sustainability specification guy. Okay. So he tries to get appointments with architects for our sustainability CPD, because we've taken this to architects big time. But part of his role is sustainability. He is the guy who sends all these pre-qualification questionnaires out, and he's the guy who does the training internally. So every quarter, we get everyone up in the boardroom after one of Nigel's briefs, and we say, right, we're going to give you an education on anything that's updated in ESG. So again, it's not just environment; it's social and governance. So yeah, you have to educate your staff, and on the belief that they'll take that home and talk to their family and their children, and we're doing it for the wider good. It's not just about here; it's about what happens outside of here as well.
Yeah, because what you're doing there, you're not just teaching them habits of work, you're teaching them good habits, and that's the difference, isn't it? And I think if we're ever going to, as a society, going to change, it's got to be in work, out work, just become the daily habits that people need to improve. Because I just don't think it is yet at all.
No, absolutely. We've got to change people's mindsets, haven't we?
Yeah, 100%.
You just hear in pubs and you hear in networking events that people do just pay lip service to it.
Yeah,
they do.
Yeah,
don't see the financial benefit of it. Part of our journey with Blue Marble, to get in with architects properly, you need to know the embodied carbon element of your products. Mm-hmm. So we did life cycle assessments with Blue Marble on all our Vantage range of rain screens. So it took them ages to do it, because you go right way around to where you mine it, the cobalt or whatever it's called. So from the raw material, from right the way through to end of life. And like I say, we have got EPDs. We're the first people in the industry to get EPDs. They are environmental product declarations. And it's probably our proudest accomplishment to date, the fact that we got them, and it's in our CPD, and architects and big clients say, right, have you got EPD? We've got one. And I just see that we are the leaders in that because of what we started with sustainability. I wouldn't have done this thing with EPDs had I not learned so much about what we've done before that.
Yeah.
So you say there's been no financial benefit. Well, there has, because we're getting specified because of our carbon credentials within our products.
Yeah.
So, and I'm probably answering your questions that you
asked. No, you know what? It's ideal because this is it. You know, there's so many reasons why companies should do this, and obviously, but ultimately, we're running businesses, and there still has to be an angle for a business advantage. There just has to be, and I think for companies like you who are first to market for that and seeing the importance of it, you need to reap the rewards for that. It's as simple as that. And the more businesses that deal with businesses who are doing the right things because they're doing the right things, instead of just purely down on cost, it means we'll keep things in the UK and we'll keep things local, and we can start to make a difference. So I think I completely agree with you. And I was thinking then, segueing off, but when you're talking about habits and stuff, one of my frustrations is, we've been in 2 different buildings in the last sort of 6-7 years, and both buildings don't have any form of recycling. We actually have had to pay for a company to come and recycle for us. I remember we're moving in and going, okay, where's the recycling bins? Oh, we don't have them. We just all go in one. Well, where's it go? Oh, we just don't. And this was the business. The first one was a business with 40 other businesses in, which, the amount of daily waste. So we had to put an asbestos bin and pay for it. But it's no other company. It's crazy. That's the stuff. Surely you're talking about government or mandates.
It's mandating. Yes, that does.
Do you know what I mean? Because that's the amount of waste we have as a business in comparison just to a household, tenfold. It's unbelievable, really.
Unfortunately, though, there is people trying to jump on the bandwagon and make money out of this at the same time. When I go back to the people trying to charge us 20 grand for a carbon footprint.
Yeah.
And like when I talked to these guys, I said, look, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know if theirs would have been a lot different from the one we got done, but we covered all the things we were told to under the regulations.
Yeah.
And plus we had that, we had our carbon footprint and our carbon going down to net, like to zero, regulated by past 2060.
Yeah.
Which is like, I've got an auditor in and check everything we did. So even though it was done by a third party, I got another third party to check what we've done. So we did it properly.
Yeah.
And like I said, we did it competitively.
Yeah.
The offsetting, we actually offset. That's another thing that I'm not happy about. When we get the carbon credits and we got rid of our 720 tons that our 3 scopes are responsible for, I wanted to plant trees in this country. I wanted to do something that was local to us.
Yeah.
And I paid £11 a ton to offset. If I got it done in England, it would have been £40-50 a ton. So what cost me £9,000 to help with a planted turkey to, I think it was like a hydro plant.
Mm-hmm.
It cost us 50 grand over here just to get carbon. And everyone says you're greenwashing there, and I do get it, because what good is us sending them carbon credits over to Turkey to get something done that should be done here? But is that our fault?
Yeah.
All we were doing is doing the right thing.
Yeah, I know.
But obviously, that is that we got that to zero, but we started our carbon reduction plan the same day.
Yeah.
And evidence of that that's working is that you do it in the year before. So it was the 22 year financial year that we got 722 tons of carbon. We did 7.5 million turnover that year. Last year, which is the year up until March the 31st, we did, it was the year before. We did 9.4 million up until the end of March 23, and our carbon footprint went down to 522 tons. So, yes, we didn't have to offset as much, but we did it properly.
Yeah.
We know that we're on that carbon reduction plan through the things we're doing, such as the carbon reduction, such as the zero waste to landfill, EV chargers, like I say, the easy stuff. We haven't been able to invest in solar and wind turbines because our roof is not suitable.
Mm-hmm.
We can't put PVs on the roof. We've had to put 1,000, like loads of ballast up there. Just it's pitched on a flat, and it just couldn't be done.
Yeah.
So if I could have put solar up there, or we could have put solar, we would have done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that would be the next steps, to try and get someone in who'll do it, and we'll buy the electricity off them. But we have got a G99 connection, so we're ready to the grid. I paid for that on the assumption that we would have had solar by now. But like I say, it just hasn't been able to be accomplished because of the specification on the roof. But it's there for the future. It's there.
100%. And I know the next step for you is obviously B Corp and that journey.
Yes.
What again? Why is it important? What's the steps?
B Corp again. It was just it's a third party measure for ESG. So environmental, social, and governance. Like I say, we for the local community, we do a lot of work with Newton Aycliffe Football Club. We give them money. We're invested. Lovely people. When they won the trophy, they came round, and great for PR when they came on the estate with the trophy. We've got the dog training club that we give the land to next door. All the local dog training, they come on our land and do it. So this is, again, it's not all about profits. It's about giving back.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest part of B Corp. But B Corp, again, came from the forum because it was all about the stakeholder model. Mm-hmm. It was the bottom-up approach. Okay. It wasn't top-down. It was, right, if we're going to make decisions, we're going to make them together. So that's the main reason. When I found out that B Corp was all about the stakeholder model, I thought, well, it's a no-brainer. It's something that's passionate to all the directors here. It's the right thing to do. We're not all about profits. We're all about the common good. And but like I said, the B Corp is a third-party accreditation of all the things we're doing in ESG.
How do you know? Manufacturing is difficult right now. For the last 5, 6, 7 years, there's been something. There's been a barrier, whether that's be Brexit, wars, COVID, whatever you want to throw at industry. It's been thrown at it. This obviously takes a lot of time. We're taking a lot of your time up to do this. And I think it's amazing what you've done. I imagine that's difficult to balance out the still doing the day job at the same time. Has that been a challenge, would you say, throughout that?
It has, but then when you're passionate about something, you just make time for it, don't you? As I've said, I invested in a guy who came in and helped me. So I've got David Christen, our sustainability officer. He does all the PQQs. He drives all the education of the staff down there. But like for me, I read up on it. I'm passionate about it. I think it's for the common good. But on the back of that, Mark, as you know, we've won a few awards on the back of it. So to win the Maiden in the Northeast this year in March was fantastic. We've just won the Make Your Mark Awards my phone rang, for Newton Aycliffe. So that was all about the environment. And before that, we won a national award. We went down to London in Canary Wharf, and that award, that was my favourite because there was a judging panel and we had to present to the judging panel before we even went down to London. So although we were shortlisted, we had to come up with the goods on it was like the Dragon's Den. It was brilliant. So 3 awards later, we know we're on the right direction. I know we're doing the right things. The EPDs is great for our product group. It's because, like I say, having the embodied carbon in our products gives us a head start.
Yeah.
But B Corp would round everything off. It would give us just something to shout about, because we've done all the work with ESG. Having the accreditation from B Corp, which doesn't cost the earth, would just round everything off, and it would be a very, very special day when we got that.
100%. I'm sure you will. What advice, Fine, would you give if there's manufacturing owners or leaders sat there thinking we need to get this journey? We've kicked the can for far too long. Given the journey you've been on now since 2015, what advice would you give? And is there anything you would have done differently, knowing what you know now?
Well, I think I did go ahead and spend some money in the early days and found the wrong experts. Basically, if you're going to do it, you've got to look at it truthfully, and you need to look at your metrics. You need to get your carbon footprint sorted. And there is some people, I can give anyone advice on that, to do it competitively. At least you know where your starting point is. Then you go in and do the easy wins, which is, as we talked about earlier, the change your lighting, change your forklifts. All our forklifts are now lithium batteries. You only charge them once a week, really, because these lithium battery packs are unbelievable. Do your easy wins, re-insulate your buildings if you can, just to keep the heat in. And like I said, we're lucky that we've got biomass. Biomass gives us money back. We're on the RHI. It's called the Renewable Heat Incentive. So every quarter we get money back. So there is financial rewards for doing these things. Although I think the RHI it's run its course now. We still get paid, but I think we've only got another 2 years of it.
Yeah.
So having it from 2015. So do it properly. Give yourself some realistic metrics that you're going to go out and get carbon footprint. You don't have to offset it. Don't greenwash. Do it properly. Get your staff educated. Get your people engaged in it. Do a weekly brief where you talk about what you're doing. Get your supply chain engaged as well. Speak to you. Come up with a PQQ. I mean, we got a few other people's PQQs and just changed ours to suit us. And it's easy. It is easy. I can help with that, and pressure your supply chain to get on the journey. And then if you sell products, get EPDs. Work out your life cycle assessment for your products and get them assessed. And like I said, that has been, architects absolutely love us because of that. Like I said, I'd say architects love us. Our CPD is all about sustainability. It's not about our products.
Yeah.
Sustainability is so important to architects.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a common goal here to reduce carbon in buildings.
Yeah. And
if you think that our sector, construction, I think it's 60% of the overall UK's carbon footprint comes from what we do. Yeah. So we're all got to be part of this. So, and then you'd like to say you've got your easy wins, which talked about there. Start with them, control your waste, maybe move into a closed loop if you can. Get so you know that your waste is staying in the UK, or you're getting money back for cardboard and plastic. And talk to me, talk to my team. Come down, have a look. I'll happily show people around here. We didn't do it for the environment as such, but we're lucky that we invested in lights out machinery. So we've got machines that work through the night that we're not even here for. So again, you're working on nighttime tariffs. Yeah, you've got no one here that's costing you money, which stops. So yeah, and we've got automation. We've spent £2.5 million on the best machinery. So we keep our headcount to a realistic level, and you don't need as many people on the shop floor, but you've got the people that are here in design, they're in accounts, they're in other jobs. And as you know from recruitment, people want to come into them like nicer jobs than they do that sometimes when they think they don't want to be on a shop floor. Yeah,
they do.
If that makes sense. If that makes sense, you know what I mean.
100% makes sense. And look, thank you so much, because you underline it so well. But people do, but they also want to work for companies like BTS who are doing the right thing for the right reasons and involving them. Because I do think there's there's so many advantages to going on the sustainability journey. But what, as I said right at the start, one of the key missing ones is how the biggest benefit can be to the actual staff and then being part of this process, because it's still a something which is so unresourced and untapped industry to do so, because I think people do care. But I think you've proven today as well, Phil, that this doesn't have to be this multi-million-pound big investments and all that, to completely wipe off everything you're doing, and you need project managers and all this type of stuff. A lot of the intel information you've got in house, you just need to bring it together and actually do it. And I think that's the thing.
Do it truthfully.
Yeah.
Do it properly. Do it truthfully, and engage with your staff and your suppliers. That's the thing. And then go on the easy wins.
And I think you've won the awards for good reason. I was at the awards night with you, sat next to you, and I knew you were going to win because you deserve to win. But actually, it's not just ticking boxes. The businesses will always tick boxes because they feel they have to. But for BTS, it's because you're passionate about it and you care, and that just comes through. So that's fully deserved. So thank you very much, Phil. You've helped loads of people with this, and as a company, I couldn't recommend BTS higher. I really think that
I would happily help anyone to get on the journey.
Yeah, thank you.
You know what I mean? It's about everyone, isn't it? It's about, we're all in this together. If you go back 20 years, it was all about quality. BS 6367, I remember it well. 10 years ago, it was all about lean. Now it's all about the environment and ESG.
Yeah.
Again, the B Corp journey for us, not just the environment, the social and the governance side. Be governed by do it properly, do things with values, have your values, represent your staff on the fact that they're involved in the decision making. It's like you say, the stakeholder model is brilliant because they're all part of it. We're all in this together. I just know it's the right way to go. I really do.
100%. Well, thanks, Phil. It's been great. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.